Hello, welcome back. My name is Dan Sweet with Dolce Law, and I'm here to talk to you about Last Will and Testament. We are planning with purpose. It's a group of attorneys here to help you with leaving a legacy to your family. One of the very important things in estate planning and leaving a legacy is your last will and testament. So let's talk about what happens before we get into a last will and testament. Let's talk about what happens when you pass away. What happens to your assets? Well, when you pass away, your assets move to your estate. That's the mechanism by which your assets transfer to your family. Your personal representative is the one who disposes of your assets after you pass away. Your estate needs to be probated by a court, okay? And probate is the legal mechanism or the proceeding under a court supervision that keeps an eye on your personal representative as your assets and your stuff is disposed to the next generation, okay? That's probate. Whether you have a will or not doesn't matter. Everything goes through probate. And so, if you don't have a will, and your probate goes into the court system without a will, the local state law dictates where your assets go. Okay, you have no say. Without a will, you have no say. The local rules or the state rules for probating your assets without a will is called intestate, okay? And the law will dictate where your assets go if you don't have a will. Generally, there's a hierarchy. It goes to your spouse, and you got kids in there. If your kids aren't around, maybe it goes to your parents or your aunts and uncles, but the law dictates where it goes. If you do not want the law to dictate where your assets go, you need a last will and testament. Okay? And the last will and testament is the instruction book, your instructions on where your assets should go, the legacy that you've created, where it should be passed on to. Okay? Your will does a couple things. It names a personal representative, the person in charge of disposing of your assets. It disposes of your assets. It says where your assets should go. And then your will may also say, hey, if all of my beneficiaries are not around, I want my assets to go to maybe a charity. Okay? And so let's talk about who might be your personal representative. That's one of the major things that you do under a will is name a personal representative. Most couples I see name their surviving spouse as the personal representative of their estate. If their surviving spouse is unable to do it, then we usually name a child, maybe a sibling, to step in as the backup personal representative. So that's an important part, is to choose somebody that you trust to follow your will instructions in disposing of your assets. As to disposing of your assets, you can do it several ways. You can dispose or transfer specific assets to a specific beneficiary. We call that a specific devise. In the alternative, you can dispose of percentages of your estate. Meaning, if you had 3 kids, you may say, take my assets, divide it into 3 ways, and to give 1 share to each kid. So there's a couple ways we can manage the transfer of assets. One thing to consider, or actually there's many things to consider when transferring your assets, and let's go through a couple of them. One thing an attorney should walk you through is, how do we dispose these assets? Do you have kids from another marriage? And possibly your assets should go to those kids? Do you have kids with your spouse and maybe a portion should go to those kids? Are those kids responsible? Can you give your assets outright to a beneficiary, or do you give those assets in trust to a beneficiary? Do you have a beneficiary who might be disabled and needs somebody to look over their assets for them? So there's a bunch of different aspects that go into how I dispose of or transfer the legacy that I've created when I'm gone. So a good attorney is going to walk you through those steps in determining who a personal representative might be and how you want your assets to be divided and transferred. And there's a lot of things that might be tailored for your particular needs. And so it's very important that you talk to an attorney. I've seen clients go online and try to develop a last will and testament, and we find that that can be problematic because they're not set up to their particular needs. So we encourage you to reach out to us with any questions. We're here to help. And we hope that this brief discussion on last will and testaments can help you understand the role that a last will and testament plays. There will be another video in this series relating to trusts. Do you need a trust? What a trust is used for? Sometimes we have our last will and testaments just take everything and just pour it over into a trust and let the trust handle it. Okay, but that's for another video. But we just wanted you to understand that your trust does integrate into the last will and testament if you have one. In short, you do need a last will and testament. We don't want the court system to come in and divide your assets according to state law. We want you to have control over where your assets go. So this series is all about planning with purpose. It's all about taking your legacy and transferring it to the next generation. We hope that helped. And so if you need anything, please reach out to us. And until next time, we hope this video helps you plan with purpose.